Hey guys, welcome back to the Tim Talks podcast. We had a great episode of Chris last week. Now I'm joined by another fantastic guest, Quinn. How's it going?
Thank you so much for taking the time today. I'm really excited.
Bro, I'm really excited as well. I know Quinn, he's prepared some excellent topics for us, or we can just talk. I'm super excited. But yeah, all right, let's cue the music, intro music. That's pretty long. All right. Yeah, how's it going, bro?
Dude, it's going great. Yeah, this is a crazy setup, especially for a college student. I'm interested like why you decided to do this in the first place.
Great question, bro. As many of you loyal fans have known, throughout all of high school, I've ran a podcast, and I had like equipment similar to this, not as good as the Broadcaster, but it was like a worse model. I had my own like really cheap mics from Amazon, and I'd invite like a bunch of my friends over to my house, and we just record podcasts or music.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do this in college, but it's hard to like with dorms and stuff to like really like, have your own studio. But one day I randomly just walked in here and saw like best equipment, perfect like sound gear, and like I just thought I had to just keep continuing in college.
Yeah. And what do you think it gave you in high school?
I think it gave me some friends. I don't know. I think I was a niche kid with a lot of like random things to offer. Like in middle school, it was like driving the golf cart. And like in high school, this was like just a way to connect with people. Like I've interviewed a lot of like really awesome people. And like you, like Chris, Abby, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, I just get to have an awesome conversation with awesome people. And that's like all I really care about.
Yeah. And I'm actually interested about your views on technology in general. Do you think that this would be possible in the same way without this level of technology?
I don't think so. I think having the headphones, the microphone, and the studio is something that's like so powerful. Like, I mean, you still can like go around and ask people, "Hey, can I interview you?" But I don't think it has the same aura. I think it's so much cooler if I'm like, "Yo, you want to hop on the podcast?" Yeah.
Do you think that this is all related to like ancient Greek debates that they used to have? I can see this having a similar setting where the setting itself is incredibly important. The vibe of the microphone, of the production studio, similar to how the Greeks would have their single location that they would want to have their debates on. So I'm interested in like, why do you think now it's incredibly important just to have this sound studio as well?
You're right. Yeah, with like Socrates, right? He had to bring everyone to his room or into his like master like place of debate and inquiry and just question people. Yeah, I think. I mean, I was just telling Quinn before this episode, but I feel like when we converse right now, we're like so connected. It's like so like deep and intimate because all I hear is your voice and my voice extremely clearly and loudly, and that's literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like my main concern, especially these days, is the overall proliferation of use of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I think it is great that we have this ability to communicate with each other and be able to be focused through audio and visually. But I wonder, like, what does that cost us in the end? And are we even at a point where technology has gone too far? And I wonder, like, what the peak would have been like. When were humans the happiest at their technology level?
Yeah. Quinn introduced this topic to me yesterday, and we decided we knew we had to make an episode on this now. I think my initial answer was shoot, what did I say it was? Did I say like pre-social media, like early 2000s?
Yeah.
Because Facebook was like 03, I think, and that's when like everything started. I mean, my guess is that like is a peak because like You have the stocks, you have a lot of those like the emerging computer stuff, but like everyone's still like not that like doom scrolling on their phone all day. But I had a different gut reaction now. I feel like maybe now is actually the peak because
Wow.
I mean I guess this is okay. Maybe I might have to backtrack on this a bit, but for like for people who like have a clear like cutoff with social media, then technology is amazing. Like for example, building using AI tools. Like now, any kid can just hop on like Claude Code and just create amazing applications. But in the
And you think that's good?
it's a good question. Um, it's good for me. Is it good for society? That is a good question because there is a lot of AI slop and but I mean, don't I feel like we should also like everyone should be empowered to do as much as they can. Like like you should if you want to build something, you should be able to go build it. Like yeah, and like in the past there was barriers to entry, which was learning how to code, but now they're removing those barriers to entry. So like I think I believe in globalization. Everything should be all barriers of entry to everything should be basically removed.
That's incredibly interesting. You think that all barriers of entry should be removed.
Yeah, I think to pretty almost anything. Yeah.
So, do you think that like once you build something yourself, once you have a podcast and it gets large, you think that everyone should be able to have a podcast that can get as large as this potentially?
Yeah, there's a selfish side of me that doesn't want this person to start a podcast and overtake my show, but I have to just admire that ability for someone to do it. Like everyone should have the chance to do whatever they want. That's within reason, of course.
So, what do you think the motivation for you or for anyone would be if they couldn't see that their projects or buildings be protected in the future if they didn't have barriers to entry?
Sorry. Well, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So, like a key concept of, in general, competitive strategy
Hmm.
is that you enter into markets where there are barriers of entry so that you can sustain profits in the long run.
Yes.
In that instance, do you think that by eliminating barriers to entry in the future through that any means that you mentioned previously, that's going to just eliminate any kind of motivation that any individual will have?
Because everyone becomes too equal. I think you're hinting at something deeper here. How there's always an imbued hierarchy in humans, and we need some people just to be above other people, with respect in respects to certain like fields. For example, there needs to be some like authority. And if
Go expand on that. What do you mean
expand
by
on
that?
that, okay, I can. I think no matter what, there's always going to be some kind of hierarchy in between two humans, and I don't think this is a bad thing. But for example, how old are you?
19
When do you turn 20?
June.
Okay, I turned 20 in July. So you like for example, you mogged me in age. So like and yeah, and then like we're each you're good at like econ, I'm better at like CS stuff. Like no matter what, there's always an implicit hierarchy within everything. And it's fine to acknowledge this. And it if in I think on tangent, there's like this creates relationships and because in relationships, I think someone's always like kind of like over someone else, not in power dynamics, but also, but in like social relations. And like, for example, like me and my roommate, for example, we have a wholesome relationship because I think this guy's cooler than me. He thinks I'm cooler than him. We both just think we're cooler than each other. So it's like wholesome. But if like I thought I was over him and he thought he was over me, we'd both like look down upon each other. But if one person looked down on me and the other person looked up, then that's just like a missided relationship. So I like the humbleness of like, like, no, you got it, bro. Like that creates good relationships.
I kind of feel like that way of thinking is almost the main problem that we have with technology nowadays.
Mm,
Especially like you mentioned that you may not be on social media, but a lot of people are. And what that does is minimize the relationship away from just the incredible nuance that every opponent has. Like in the dimension of computer science, the dimension of econ, the dimension of being cool or being older, the ways that people are better or worse than each other are so much more complex than the ways that technology nowadays has allowed people to express themselves. Especially like online, you see clavicular
yeah.
getting frame mogged. Like, what does that even mean? That's one dimension of clavicular. I mean, despite all the troubles he's gone through, And through the technology, through social media, being able to isolate one person down to the most bare minimal factors of who they are, it, I think, isolates them from their true selves and minimizes them from the complex being that they are into just one of the people, which I think is a great tragedy of modern technology.
Wow. I totally agree with that. Yeah, no, that's a great view. Yeah, a lot of people, and because this affects everyone's like perception of comparison and stuff like that. Like I always feel like I'm behind. And especially on LinkedIn, I'm doom scrolling and like, oh, this guy just got the Jane Street offer and whatever. And I feel bad about myself. Um, yeah, no, it's pretty real.
So it's clear that you're going through this. Is like you feel the comparison that you even make for yourself upon other people,
Hmm.
and everyone else was feeling the same way. They're feeling terrible about themselves oftentimes, and this is the bad side of technology that I think is natural and prevalent when it comes to the state that we are in now. So I want to re-ask your opinion. Do you still think that we're at the optimal level of technology now?
Are we at the optimal level of technology? Yeah. No, from the personal point, I'll still like stand
Okay.
strong and be like, I love technology. I can't imagine life without it. But I think you're right. Society as a whole, um, is is not optimal because I'm sure there's some statistic of like men's depression and everyone's depression actually probably like peaking right now. So everyone's like on antidepressants. Like that's too general, but there's a lot of like mental health issues going on right now for sure. And social media is definitely one of the main causes. Um, yeah, that I agree with.
Yeah, but it is interesting. Like without social media, your podcast wouldn't be able to be
Mm,
as large as it would be. Like the positive aspects and the positive knowledge that people gain won't be there without
hmm.
the same level. So, but it's so tough to like look at technology now and think of how good it was in the past without realizing that the past is gone. We can never get back to that level of technology.
Right.
So it's up to us in the future to ensure that the technology that we do use and we do have is built for a healthy and long lasting society, not one full of anxiety and full of depression, like you mentioned. So I'm also interested, like, do you see the future of technology being good?
Oh yeah. I definitely do actually.
That's
I'm
great.
all for AI and for it not being a bubble, even though I wrote an article about how it is a bubble. Um, so do you know Naval Ravikant?
I'm not familiar.
He's like this Indian tech billionaire. But I listened to one of his podcasts with Joe Rogan. He also wrote a great almanac, or someone else maybe wrote it, but it's just like all of his wisdom and notes and like journal entries like put into one like journal or like book. But in this podcast, he this was before like ChatGPT. I think he gave like a great like dream scenario of AI, and essentially, basically, uh, we want AI to become as best as possible in everything. So AI will become the best quant trader, the best IB person, the best consultant, the best everything because and the best fast food worker, for example, it eliminates all of these manual labor jobs. And so yeah, once because AI will never like truly be conscious or sentient. It is just a large language model that spits out data through like linear algebra matrices and eigenvectors, I think, and just spits out the most likely correct data, and it's good like 95% of the time or whatever. So AI will take these jobs, but not be creative. Then humans, I think, what are humans meant to do? I think we're meant to be creative. So if every manual labor job has been taken, then every human can focus on a creative job, like music, like drawing, like painting, like art, like literature, like because this like an AI creating art is just mashing a bunch of old art into something and getting something maybe new, but it's just based off old art. It will never create like a new art. We need a human, the complex brain that beats the LLM to create something like brand new. So yeah, I hope AI takes all of our jobs so we can all focus on creative stuff.
That is so terrifying to hear you say.
Really,
I Are you familiar with Professor James Evans here?
I am not.
He's a sociologist and he has been published in the Nature a couple times. He's like our leading expert on AI, and he recently developed an AI model that will actively predict what scientific discoveries will happen. So how he does this is he puts all the previous ones and the previous and all the like state of biology and physics and finds like where are humans not looking, and from that predicts where they will find their next big discovery. So this capacity for AI to be creative is it seems beyond our own ability to be creative in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you I'm concerned if you have a world of humans that their own basis of production and value to society is now on this creative aspect in which AI can seemingly recreate in a lot of ways, and we're seeing that it's only getting better. I mean, like just the video of Will Smith, I believe, eating spaghetti. It's like getting better every single year, and the limitation will no longer be. I don't see how the limitation is going to be human creativity if we're seeing AI being able to predict what is not going to happen and thereby filling in the gaps. So I'm interested on. It also feels incredibly isolating if we're all just like painting by ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and not talking to ourselves. So I I feel like the greatest aspect that we have to each other is the ability to communicate, the ability to talk with one another and understand people on an empathic level, which AI simply can't do right now. Uh, yeah, so I'm interested. Like, do you think that we're still going to be able to have a human aspect in this like quant trader, in this consultant, in the near future, even, or do you think it's all just going to be delineated to art in the end?
Ooh. Um. Okay. In the next, maybe. So okay. I'll preface this by saying, the one thing I learned from being in San Francisco last summer and just talking with a lot of like founders and AI engineers, whatever, it's that no one knows the future. So everyone will say a different opinion and take, and they will all be wrong because no one really knows what they're talking about. But of course, I'll still offer my best guess. I think maybe in the next 10 years, we'll see. The human side won't be deleted, but maybe many entry rules will be. So like this banker and this consultant need to like talk for something. They'll both hire their team of like AI agents, like AI agent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to create something. This AI, this human will hire a bunch, all of his like AI teams 1, 2, 3 to like create his pitch deck or whatever. And these top two humans will talk to each other. But these people used to all be like entry analyst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, entry consultant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those people will all be gone. So most entry jobs I think will be taken. And these two people probably could be taken too, but I think they'll just be like powerful enough in their industry to be like, no, I actually need this. And plus, you're a human too. You want to trust me rather than some random robot that's controlled by another human programming, like put down the line. But maybe give it another few decades, and then everything is actually just totally automated, and we're just delineated to painting.
So do you think that like in the future we'll be all subsidized through a UBI and like the state of jobs as we have now would totally just be gone?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about UBI, but it seems like in this far like future scenario, that it probably is like the most logical thing for the government to do. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Many other people will say like, oh, new jobs will be created, but I feel like AI, especially once we have robots that are like AI, it can really start automating most tasks, and like what maybe I'm just not seeing it, but I don't know what new jobs will be created. It's just doing the jobs.
Yeah, I think my idea of the future is less bleak.
Okay.
I think in general, if we look at the past and we look at sizable technological transformations, we're seeing that actually hiring and demand for workers increases once the technology becomes more efficient. So, for example, the Industrial Revolution corresponded with expansive population growth as well as an increase of jobs for workers. They were terrible jobs, and many people died. But just because the machines produce steel more efficiently or produce textiles doesn't mean that we needed less workers in the end. And we're actually seeing a similar thing with AI now. Radiologists, I remember a time when everyone's going to say that radiology is going away. All you'd see is you look at a photo and say if it has a break or not, and AI can analyze images. AI can do that. We're going to see no radiologists. Yet we're seeing an all-time high for demand for radiologists right now. Similarly, for consultants, like the menial tasks are decreasing so much, and that's a great thing because that means that the consultants become more efficient in the work that they do, and we're seeing that the MBB is having their biggest hiring year for interns across the board. So it's like it's actually amazing that we have AI and for the future of work, I think, because like you're gonna have interns and you're gonna have entry level people not faxing anymore. They're
Hmm.
in the past it would have taken so long just to relay information back and forth, which the internet fixed, and now we're just gonna see them do Excel less, do PowerPoints less, and it's really gonna be tied down into analyzing the data in a way that you can pick out the key information and conveying it to another person in the most succinct and optimal way possible, which is the real benefit that I think the humans have over AI, which is the level of communication. I was recently speaking to a McKinsey partner, and he said that they had their recommendation for some retailer, and it took him 8 weeks to do it. They threw the whole thing into AI, and AI got 70% of the way there. It like pretty much had the recommendation, but it was all about the key nuances that a human can see that an AI would gloss over through the over analyzation of the data that they had, and the way in which the AI presented the information. It was going to be less of a presentation in which one can communicate, one can question, and merely just the key big insights that the AI was giving. And so I think like in the end, we're going to see the future work be very interesting. We're going to see people's cognitive capacities expand if they allow them to, and those people will be rewarded. And the ones that do not let their cognitive capacities expand will be cast to the side and lose. Those will be the ones that lose their jobs to AI. So in the end, it's like, how do you as an individual both, one, make yourself AI proof through communication and through deep cognitive thinking, and two, encourage the other people around you to meet that same goal and to have that same goal. Because it's one thing to strive for excellence for yourself, but how are we going to make society as a whole improve? And yeah, I'm interested on your thoughts. Like, how do you think we can have a societal advancement and a societal change to really care about their own individual futures, knowing that oftentimes technology is there to beat them down in the end?
You know, wow, that was a great monologue. Truly, I that resonates. It resonates with me that cognitive capabilities I think have declined. I think in high school, like we were all waking up at 6:30 a.m. We were writing every essay, doing multiple sports and all these like hard classes and like whatever, right? And managing the social dynamics of that life. But these days, it's like I mean, I'm guilty of this at times, but it's like you wake up late, you kind of scroll for a bit, then you put your essay into ChatGPT, and then that's like your whole day. And so I think, and I know I'm not the only one.
Mhm.
I think like a lot of people are all like just using their minds so much less. So and it's so hard to like break this habit. Like even for like a lot of like simple tasks, I'll like I like used to just think of them and like make my own judgment, see if the result was bad or good, then I'll iterate on that result for my future judgments. But now, I can just skip my own trial and error process and just ask ChatGPT the most efficient way or something, and it's good. But then I just feel like in the Matrix, I'm just like a slave to AI. So I don't know the solution, and yeah, but I mean, it's definitely a problem we all have to address deeply in the future.
Yeah, I like your Matrix analogy.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like the Matrix. And so I'm also interested, like, do you think that, remind me, the red pill is the one to escape the Matrix?
Yes.
Do you think the red pill is known or even accessible at this point?
To escape the Matrix. I see. And you don't refer to like the like the red
I'm
pill.
not referring, not like,
Okay.
not true red pill. Like, do you think this like dependence upon AI, this
Yeah.
lack of cognitive function is escapable?
Yeah, you're right in that most people. Well, I don't. You did not say most, but you definitely said there would be a divide of people who like lose to AI and the people who do good in AI. Quick. What is your quick estimate for people that will like lose or excel to AI?
I think it's really tough, especially because I don't have that kind of experience now.
Okay.
Because I'm also thinking like I've never had to work 8 hours straight.
Hmm.
on any given day.
Hmm.
Like people do that all the time in the real world. They're using their brain all the time in the real world, working 8 hours a day. So it's so much easier for me as a college student not to use my brain as much as a real adult.
Hmm.
So, but from my own experience, it's like a total shot in the dark. But hopefully, 50% managed to escape. But I truly don't know. I'm interested. What do you think?
I'm a lot more cynical and pessimistic. I think I was gonna like estimate like 5% like
Wow.
conservative, like like yeah, like we're like 5% like upper bound. I think and I'm also probably having a way like looser definition of like loose to AI,
Mm.
but but yeah, I mean if like all these companies have so many vibe coders and and if these consultants and like if they're like not building the pitch decks anymore, genuinely what are they doing? I mean they're communicating, but if it's just but then it becomes like translating the AI slop into like a dumbed down way that another person who like hasn't thought much can like understand your like dumbed down AI slop.
Mm.
And I also have a pretty cynical view of consultants in general. Like apologies,
You're good.
but yeah, I don't know. But I think, but of course, on the other side, and this is just my estimate. It was just so few people will truly tap into AI's potential. I think, so I've taken a lot of hard classes here, like analysis, for example, and in the past you would have had to struggle through that textbook, go to office hours, go to every class, ask the professor questions, go in your study groups, and just really like work so hard to like understand this high level proof based like rigorous math. But these days, if you don't understand something, you can just chat it, and then like after like five like back and forth prompts, you'll actually understand this topic, and that just saved you so much time. But then you gain something with a lot less effort, so you have a lot more effort to give. If you don't give that effort, you're still just the same as before, as the other person in the past. But this person in the past actually did the work though. Like like you just stepped in a time machine and got the rewards, but they went through the journey. But if you don't stop at just like understanding this, but then you apply this AI to like everything in your life, then that is truly exponential growth. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally agree, and I hope that the people listening would share your goal of being able to use AI and exponential growth. So I'm interested, like, what do you think? What techniques do you think people can employ to utilize this extra effort that they now have the capacity for, given how easy AI can make a lot of things?
I yeah, so I'm going back to my example of people who like, for example, are getting offers really early. People will be like, "Oh, well, I didn't even know about like, for example, my best friend at Notre Dame. I love you, bro." But he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even know about the Putnam. I didn't even know about these quant trading competitions. I didn't even know about anything." But and that's like okay, and then it makes sense. Like your school, for example, some people at these schools don't like their culture is not super like driven into their career. But I think there's also just no excuse for not like information anymore. Like everything is online, even pre ChatGPT. Like everything is online. You can learn anything if you just put your mind to it. Like there was coding YouTube tutorials in like 2010, but with ChatGPT, it's another barrier removed. Like if I'm a freshman entering U Chicago and I don't know what I want to do, I would just ask ChatGPT and have a conversation with it and tell me what I should do. And ChatGPT is coded in a way that it won't tell you what to do. It'll be like you should try these things and see if you like them, and then iterate on that, and then switch to something else if you don't like it. Like the soft language makes it like not like you got like you're not you still have your liberty in what you want to do. It just gives you more agency and more information. So yeah, I would just and I'm doing this right now in recruiting for CS jobs. I was like, shoot, I'm cooked. I haven't recruited or prepped yet. ChatGPT, please give me like a 6 month plan. Make it super rigorous. Tell me what I need to do every day. What milestones I need to hit each week, and like what like mental rules I should keep to not get myself distracted, et cetera, et cetera. And after like 10 minutes, because it was a pro request, it gave me actually an insanely detailed guide on
That's great.
how I can like maximize my recruiting efforts and get the best offer and also learn real technical hard skills and not just be like an AI coder who doesn't really know what they're talking about. Um, yeah, AI can just I think yeah AI can make anything possible.
Hmm. I, f- I sense a tension between that possibility of AI and your thoughts on creativity in the future. Like,
Mm,
I'm wondering, do you think that by asking AI, which will just skim the internet for all the instructions, does that make you less unique of a CS coder in the future when you're recruiting? And is that even a bad thing?
I uh, I think I will be less unique because if I'm doing this, I am imagining a bunch of other people are doing this as well. And then this is a weird like game theory or like a Nash equilibrium scenario where
Yeah.
like you got to do this, so then that makes other people do that. But then the really way to stand out is just to not do it, and then people switch back to not doing it, and then it's like, or maybe there's strategy one beats strategy two, and strategy two beats strategy three. But then now like strategy, the too many people have switched, and now strategy three beats strategy one. Um, yeah, so there probably is a loss of uniqueness in CS stuff, but we sacrifice this uniqueness for exponential gains in productivity, and this is also like ChatGPT giving me this like awesome detailed instructions. Like this is not something special that's like gate kept by like U Chicago. Like in the past, maybe you had to go to a top CS school of top professors and top like industry professionals who like can teach you these methods of coding. But now AI will teach you for free really easily in a dumbed down way that you can understand. So yeah, the loss of uniqueness will be sacrificed for exponential gains in productivity, and I think that's a good thing because once you've
Mm.
reached that height of productivity, then you are in itself unique.
So, what comes after the height of productivity? Do you think, like, knowing that we're on an ever increasing trend towards technological advancement and increased productivity and the potential for one individual to make a difference in their own lives, do you really see that ending at some point and switching to creativity in the future?
Mm, great question. Yeah, we're gonna keep going higher and higher and higher, and the trends right now. I mean, AI development is still like rapidly increasing. It's actually a lot of like Claude engineers are actually just using Claude themselves to engineer more in Claude. Um, I mean, as Newton said though, what comes up must come down. So gains will be maybe for the next decade, and I'll make my claim indisputable and super broad. Maybe for the next few centuries, because we'll never know long after we're gone. It might just keep increasing for a really long time, but there's also like physical limitations to the universe. And have you heard of like Kardashev scale?
I've not.
It's like a type one civilizations control their planet, type two control their solar system, type three control the galaxy,
Mm.
type four control the universe, type five control the multiverse, type six are the creators, and type seven is not even comprehensible. It's like the essence of essence. Like it's so abstract and like bullshit, okay. But but there's gonna be like limitations, and so we'll decline. But
Mm.
if we're I don't know. Speaking of this universe level shit, if we expand our horizon to literally like billions of years in the future, like what can we even imagine is like happening?
Yeah, it's that's super interesting because I mean, just your example of like even in the near future where we reorient our sense of purpose away from monetary gains, perhaps, or simple productivity and towards creativity. Do you feel like there's the end of capitalism is going to come soon?
Whoa, we got Marx over here.
I'm just saying, like,
Marx is rolling around in his grave right now. End of capitalism. Hmm.
I guess like a more pointed question could be like, how do you see us uh, changing the incentives in our society away from mere productivity and to reward the creative aspect that you think that humans are still going to be needed for in the future?
Oh, okay. Maybe in the future, I think everything will be like okay, if we succeed and don't kill each other in World War III or whatever, then hopefully we reach a utopian society where like there is no homelessness, there's no world hunger, there are no wars. Everyone is free to just to be around. And I actually have you read the Scythe trilogy?
I've not.
Okay. Quick premise of the entire book. There's a super AI that controls everything, but it's like it's solved all of these problems, even aging. So people live forever. However, the only way for people to die is there's like a select group of people called Scythes, and these people, their job is just literally just to kill people, but it's like sanctioned by the government because you want new life to be created, but AI solved every problem. But then of course there's like conflicts with like, oh, these scythes go bad and just like killing people, and these scythes are like good, and then there's like the lover between the main one, the main characters in this side, and her lovers in the other side.
Of course.
Great. It's honestly such a good read. But yeah, if we ever get to that point, well, not with like living forever, but well, maybe, but probably not. Unless Brian Johnson goes crazy. But sorry, I'm on a minute. Where was I going with this?
New incentive structure.
Okay, new incentive. Oh yeah, we have all of our money needs satisfied. Like what more can I get with money if I already have everything? Then the only thing left is like social aura. That will probably be currency, literally like aura points. I think almost everything right now is has to do with some like low key. Everything is based on social aura.
You said even now everything is.
It's a lot more than in the past. Like why is like for example clavicular doing this? Like well for the social aura, like like why low key this podcast. Partly it is to have great conversations with people, but then maybe the other half is also for like social aura. Just to be honest, yeah.
Interesting. So, do you predict a similar kind of life as the one you mentioned in Scythe? Was it? Was the book?
Yeah. In our lifetime, wow, I don't even know that we still have like 50 years minimum, assuming nothing bad happens. And 50 years is like 50 years ago was like 1970s.
Yeah.
And so how much have we changed from the
Yeah.
1970s? I actually really like the 70s and 80s, like the Stranger Things vibe. Like everyone's a hippie doing drugs, protesting the Vietnam War. But wow, we're so 50 years like that. I can't even comprehend how much things will change. I think it's possible. I think it's true. I really think it's possible. Yeah, that could happen.
Interesting. I'm impressed by how much faith you have in our AI overlord in the future to be good.
Ah,
Are you familiar with the basilisk thought experiment?
I'm not.
So, there will be potentially an AI in the future who will kill every single person who didn't do their absolute all to make it in the first place. And the one person that spent all their time making this basilisk will be the one that lives and everyone else would die. And it's like an interesting game theory prompt, because if you don't do that, then you know you will die to this basilisk in the future. And if you do, you know you'll live, but you'll be the only one who lives. And it's in the same sense that like the possibility for AI to go bad in the future, to set up the incentives for the AI to reward against human flourishing in the future is so possible. It's so real to me, and I'm impressed by your hope that you have for this. And I'm also interested, like, do you think we should have government guardrails at all on AI right now or in the future even?
I think there already are a lot of government guardrails. And I don't know. I don't know how much I trust the government. That's also the other thing. Maybe I might be. Some of you guys might know I'm a bit of a conspiratorist. Won't go into detail, of course, on the show. Yeah, I don't know how much faith people generally have in the government either. But ideally, like a good government would regulate the AI. But maybe we create but like in sci-fi, the super AI actually is it's metaphysical and transcendent above human governments. But that would also be pretty scary. But if it's a really good AI, then it's almost like playing God, which is also pretty scary. But it could be good for a lot of people. I want to go back to the basilisk thought experiment really quick though.
Yeah.
I wait, now that you mention it, I do remember like watching like a random YouTube video on it like 12 years ago. But I remember the main video's message was like, is like knowing information good or bad? And this was like an example. I mean, generally like always like knowing information is good. But maybe like okay, maybe you don't want to know about all the details of like human trafficking crimes on the other side of the world. But like you can be oblivious because maybe ignorance is bliss. But like that's more of like a edge case thing. Like generally, like information is good, except in like a basilisk thought experiment. But I think I remember the whole point of the video was like, but like it's like said there was like a flaw in this like in this like entire experiment. Like what's like the stupid flaw in it,
What's the stupid flaw in the experiment?
or like in the thought experiment that like contradicts itself or something like that.
Gosh, I haven't even heard of it in a very long time. I feel like my dad told it to me 10 years ago.
Uh huh.
Instantly cooked my chances of living for
Dang.
this basilisk. But yeah, I don't know what the flaw was.
Okay, I'll have to do some research and follow up with you on that, because yeah, I know there was, because like for Pascal's wager there was like a simple like flaw in that.
Mm.
But anyways, yeah, what are you going on about?
Yeah, it's just like this like relationship that we will likely have with a higher power of AI is super interesting. Um, and it's interesting how you say you don't trust the government, but you're going to trust an AI more than that, more than the government.
Mhm.
Um, Potentially without its checks and balances that our current government has. Like for all its flaws, it is based and built around humans. And at least in the end, we know that like we can originate the source of good or bad onto a single human in the future.
Mhm.
But when you have an AI potentially being our overlord, there's no basis of good and bad in the future except relative to the AI through the AI. Like just like the paperclip AI, that's like you tell it do make paper clips,
Mhm.
and it will buy up all the land in the world, and it will survey for steel and metal, and it will make the machines, and it will build infinite paper clips. It will conquer worlds to make these paper clips because that's what you told it to do.
Yeah.
And the making an AI that does not limit itself in some way, or does not have so much complexity that either we can't understand it, or like the rules aren't even possible to actually encourage human flourishing. I think that's a very real risk that we face, especially when you take humans out of the loop. I'm sure you know the Sam Altman quote that's like, the president's, once we get a ChatGPT 7, like the president may just listen to that in the future. And it's like, how are you going to set up its own moral code for an AI? Uh, yeah, I think it's a very, very scary world in the future that we could potentially face.
A moral code for AI. I don't know. My first thought is the Bible, because I don't know. I believe morals originate from the Bible. Although like I know there's some people in like moral subjectivity, and like, oh, humans could have developed morality like outside of like religion, but that would be maybe a solution for AI is morals. But of course, yeah, you're right. It's I mean, an AI was built by humans. Maybe some humans like controlled part of it, but in the end, maybe the AI probably went off its own guardrails and is just like spouting some crazy random shit. And the solution, of course, is just to be vigilant and be introspective, and like be like the judge in whether this like advice from the AI or decrees from the AI are good. But it's hard to do that, especially if you keep relying on it for so long. Then you do become blue pilled in the subject to the matrix. Um, yeah, how? Yeah, I mean, I also, but in the government, people, I mean, I'm also just a big skeptic of like politics in the government. I don't think uh, any politician really cares for me on a personal level. Maybe, I mean, maybe there's some politicians too, but I think, but I don't know if like a lot of the big names out there really, really like care deeply about my best interest, and so their policies won't, be in my best interest. It'll probably be for like the elite, the other politicians, the deep state, maybe. But in AI, I feel like an AI would have my best interests more.
Why do you think that?
Um, it's a tool, and tools help you.
That's interesting, um, because how I see, like, I actually agree with you. Like any one individual, I don't think a politician will really care about.
Yeah.
Maybe on like a personal empathetic level they would, but in the end, the system that we built up through politics just necessarily requires that they would respond well to their key supporters across their entire state. As you need more than half the people to vote for you, that's and to do that, you need to be a good person. You need to care about enough people, but necessarily you're going to not address everyone's concerns, and it's about uh, picking which concerns you care more about in the end. And it's also like, I know we're talking about AI as some like super overlord that can do anything they want, but I don't see, like in the immediate future, when we have an AI, I don't see how they can necessarily address everyone's individual concerns. I think there's going to naturally be conflict. There's going to be natural conflict across people individually, and it's going to be up to the AI to determine who are they going to listen to and who are they not. I know you mentioned that like you think that morals originate in the Bible. I'm sure a bunch of people, including me, disagree with you on that. And how are we going to have an AI be necessarily good for everyone if people can't even agree what the good is in the first place? So, and it's doubly concerning when we just have one singular entity making all the decisions. Like, at least for politics, we know that we know that the system is built for the most support for the most people, and maybe not in a dictatorship, of course, but like in a true democracy, we're at least going to have the most people being supported, even if some are not cast, some are not, some concerns are not being addressed with in the first place. But I'm interested, like, I don't know if there's any taboo topics on this podcast, but like, why do you think that morals originate in the Bible?
Oh yeah, good question. I've had a long journey of Christianity, and I remember we had a long
Yeah,
dinner last year
yeah.
where you told me about your own personal ideology and your own spiritualness, how it's like something you invented yourself, and I think I mean I was raised Christian, kind of, and maybe fell into it on my own, fell out of it on my own, trying to fall back into it on my own, because I think we've also agreed that like every action that any human ever does is for the pursuit of perceived maximum happiness, utility, content, just general positive feeling. Um, and people in religion are shown to be more happy, and if you can't prove it's real or not real, then you ought to just choose maximum utility. And but as how this pertains to morals, though, I mean, I don't know. I saw. I haven't thought about it too much. Where morals really come from. I mean, they could have just. I mean, because even if I say they came from like evolution, and you just like people naturally develop their own systems through like, oh, this thing is bad, then we go on, then like we as a society like have a new social contract within each other not to do bad things. But I mean, the Bible also did say that though. And if I do believe that God and everything in Christianity stems from the Bible, so if I and God, so if I'm to believe, and I think morality is actually one of the biggest arguments for God is why is like morality real and why does it exist? This there had to be some kind of like divine like wiring in the code of like every like human beings like consciousness and soul. So if I'm to believe morality came from God, then that like through like the transitive property, then I'm to believe it came from the Bible.
Interesting. That's an interesting way to reach that conclusion. So you said that there's a natural wiring of good within people that everyone has.
Almost everyone, and there's a few edge
Almost,
cases. Yeah.
almost. Is this predicated upon knowledge of the Christian God?
Hmm. No.
Mm.
But predicated, that means
Like based upon like you need the knowledge beforehand.
oh no, like you each like everyone like has the knowledge already.
Mm. Hmm. So, for example, in rural Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
where they're Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and is their understanding of good, bad, and evil still based upon the Christian God's divine implementation of morality upon them, or is it their learnings from Islam that they got that from?
Good question. Um, so before anyone even learns of like religion, I think like people already have that like maybe you can call it knowledge, but maybe more accurately, it's just they have like gut feeling indicators of like positive, negative, good, bad.
Mm.
And that's why like feelings like guilt exist, because they like inherently somehow deep down know that thing is bad. And but then maybe they did get this. Some people maybe they like explicitly got it from like from the Quran or from the Bible. And then this is like and I think not to be like a too liberal Christian, but like maybe but other religions do have like elements of truth and good in them as well. Like there's a lot of good morals and good messages in Buddhism and Islam, um, Judaism, Hinduism. Like spirituality generally is good. But of course, maybe I'm also just spouting blasphemy. Oh, you can only support the true Christian God, right?
I, I think anyone who can't see the good in other religions is blinding themselves in some way. Like I totally agree with you that there are going to be great lessons in every religion, in every kind of spirituality that everyone faces, and that's a big driver for a lot of people as well. But this may just be down to like a difference of opinion in the end. But I know that, for example, like kids learning what good and bad is oftentimes is experimental. It's seeing their parents back home. And for example, a bully recognizes a relationship between themselves and their dad. Like if their dad beats them a lot, it may incite them to realize that for them, there are two people in the world, the ones with power and the ones without. And the ones that with power hurt the ones that don't. And that causes them to oftentimes bully the other kids in school. It causes them to think that what they're doing is good because it makes themselves feel good. Even though, like, I'm sure that Christianity has rules against violence, especially unnecessarily against other children. But they don't know that because they're learning that they got from their parent through just basic observations has caused them to have a twisted sense of good and bad that needs to be re-educated to them, not necessarily through the Christian way, but through other ways as well. But I can see I think in the end, like it's just going to come down to difference of opinion for the origination of that good and bad that we see from each other. But yeah, I think Christianity and all religions can have a lot of amazing impact on other people, and there's definitely a lot of benefit. I recently just picked up a religious studies major for that very reason.
Let's go.
Like I want to learn more about the motivations behind people and how we can maybe use them to initiate good in the end for everyone.
Nice. Are you in religion, Soch?
I'm not, unfortunately. I took classics last year. Absolutely loved it. But
Okay.
Are you in religion?
No, I'm in power. And I know and I know a big topic is Nietzsche actually, and that's it's really interesting how you talked about how like all that like his main thing is like all that matters is power and strength, and morality is created as like a weapon for the weak to fight back against the strong. Like the big guy would beat the little guy, but now the little guy has the weapon of, oh well, no, you can't beat me. That's immoral. So like I don't know. I wonder how you feel about that.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the genealogy of morality by Nietzsche. I was so convinced when I read that, especially like the starting of good and bad as strong and then weak, and then the priestly class, as you mentioned, creating good and evil to counteract that. I think it does have a lot of merit. However, I think it's definitely a simplification of the real societal natures that people have. I'm not sure who said it, but there's like an element that we have that's against seeing humans being in despair of some kind. It's like we have a natural empathy. Maybe that's divinely ordained upon us, or maybe not. But it feels like if we just have good and evil being a power dynamic, it minimizes the true human nature that we have. Just as AI minimizes our true human nature potentially.
I see. Our true human nature. Let's can I ask you about your own ideology and if that's changed now or not? Yeah, like the thing you were just telling us at dinner last year. Like you have your own spirituality and own religion that you created, and it's based like 10 years in the future, like you looking back on yourself, or like yeah. Just tell us about it and still how you believe.
Yeah. So I feel like I've gone through a couple spiritual adventures at this point.
Okay.
Trying to find like my sense of purpose in the world, and my how I can originate meaning for my own life. Because I thought that a lot of times when we go in the world, especially potentially without religion, it can be hard to motivate yourself through positive means, especially if you go to school like U Chicago, where it's
Yeah.
incredibly stressful and the comparison against other people is so prevalent. So yeah, in order to reformulate that away from comparison to other people, like you mentioned, I try to compare myself to the future and have an idea of myself that I would idealize in the future and think about all the steps I could do to reach that in the end. Um, but since then, I've thought that that kind of also sucks.
Why?
like it's great for a lot of ways. It's great for motivation, but I think it necessarily requires a negative viewpoint upon yourself at all times. You're always comparing yourself to what you could be in the future, and it's so easy to make that fall into like instead of what you could be, it's what you lack now. And it also, I think, flattens who you are as a person in the future if you just focus on perhaps your job, or if you have a wife, or if you have a great friends and family. Those are all great, but they're only one aspect of yourself. And trying to think of yourself in the future, I think, minimizes that in a lot of ways. So I'm actually like struggling now to like find a way to change my understanding of myself without comparing myself to either other people or myself in the future, which I don't even know is possible in the first place. Um, so that's why I'm exploring a bunch of different religions at this point. Like,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm like exploring going to Catholic church, even though I wasn't raised religious. Hopefully, going to meet with an imam and a Muslim religious leader soon to talk about representations of the devil, and
Wow.
because I think that like you mentioned, a lot of religions have great insight into the underlying motivations of a lot of people. And while I may not necessarily believe in them or agree with them, I think they target very real and very powerful impacts and effects upon people. Like I can see how Satan could be a representation of just your bodily desires that limit yourself away from your true potential in the future. Just as like social media and technology is drawing you away from true cognitive thinking by allowing you just to be idle and be curious over nothing over and over again on Instagram Reels, for
Yeah.
example. Like by isolating those things and transforming them into potentially like a religious evil is, I think, a great way to motivate yourself, not in terms of other people, but in terms of the negative of society itself, and trying to think of the positive ways that you can formulate yourself within society and push towards a better one in the future. But it's super tough, like
Hmm.
because at the same time we're like living in the world,
Yeah.
like we're motivating ourselves to be better, but we're also living in the world at the same time. And yeah, like I'm curious what you think. Do you think that like do you think we can have real change upon ourselves and really think deeply while we're at this incredibly busy school? Like we're dealing with all these things. You're making an entire podcast. Like you must have so much. You must be putting so much effort into all the things that you're doing. Like how much time do we really have to change ourselves? And is that like a reasonable thing to even achieve in the first place?
Wow. Thank you, Quinn. You're such an empathetic person. Um, yeah, that's such a good question. We come here like wanting to make get a job, right? But also to as I talked about one of my reels, to reach our intellectual fulfillment. But there's been this like our generation's kind of jaded in the way that like oh, it's too hard to fight the all of the evils in the world on my own. So I'm gonna just focus on something that's easier and way more important. Just make a good living for myself and my future family. Totally valid. Um, but yeah, is this possible? Everyone at U Chicago is so busy and so hardworking. And you're asking the question of is it all worth it? Is it making us happy? Like why are we like really doing this? And I think a lot of it is peer pressure. And like and what I mean by peer pressure is not like literally someone being like you have to, but indirect peer pressure. I think I got into U Chicago because I had a lot of friends who were all extremely hardworking in high school. I was in that environment where everyone was just maybe not everyone, but like within like our group of like maybe like 20, 30 kids, everyone was working their asses off. And if I did not
That's
like
great.
if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be here. And so it's good to have like the environment push you further. But I think you're touching on like the bad part of having this environment. It's just too much like negative, like it's like a negative feedback loop where like it's like you need to do this and otherwise you don't like get this instead of like you can do this and you get rewarded for like doing the good thing. It's like a reverse like it's like FOMO honestly.
We need JOMO as you put earlier.
But JOMO is that's the true power. Yes, no motion as well. I don't know. You're you are you on a like self improvement culture online or
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it sounds like most of your like ideology has is like based just rooted in self improvement, how it can be better, and yeah, I think that's great, and because I think I don't know, you viewed a bit negatively, but I think comparing yourself to yourself is even though you lack some things, like for example, I lack like all of the necessary like money, maybe some knowledge, maybe some physical stuff, maybe some social skills. Like you always lack so much, but when you focus on what you do have and how you make it better, then like the solution is to like improve on yourself and be thankful for yourself at the same time instead of like being like a bit sad on what you don't have because the alternative because we can't help but compare ourselves. It's like a survival instinct. Like if you don't like, you know, that guy like caught this many wolves, I better catch this many wolves too for my hunter gatherer tribe. But in these days, we don't have to compare like to other people. I mean, maybe we should compare a little bit for senses of urgency, but like I think comparing yourself to yourself is so good, and I love how you have added like a spiritual element to self improvement.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective that you have about comparing yourself to yourself, because I also think we live in a very unique time as well with regard to comparison, given that like social media, all you see is
Yeah,
like everyone being super rich or like super buff,
yeah.
and it's like we may not want to, but it's what you end up doing. And but are you do you think that that's something we should fight, this comparison, or is it only fighting comparison to other people and not ourselves? Yeah, what do you think the nature of comparison should be in the world?
Hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. My entire IG feed, which is why it's good to produce content, not consume content. But of course, I consume a lot of content as well. Like I love watching like a bunch of like soccer and chess and etc. Anyways, yeah, on Instagram though, it's just a bunch of people like flexing their Lambos. These are e-commerce drop shippers. There's people just yeah, of course, a lot of gym guys all like on steroids, I assume. Um, yeah, it definitely just can be good for your mental health. But I think like if you don't like let it take over your life, I think Nietzsche also talked about this. Like the man who stares long enough into the void, then what he sees in the void stares back at him. It's like clavicular epitomize looks maxing so hard that literally that's all he can see in every single aspect of
Yeah.
life is because that's like the void that stares back at him because he's lost. Um, maybe not, but anyways,
I agree with you.
yeah. Um, yeah, I think so but of course if I never saw like a jack guy on Instagram, I never would have had like motivation to go to the gym. Maybe I would have, but seeing this person on the like just seeing like some jack people on my feed definitely like it's definitely some inspiration. A lot of these
Mhm.
creators are very inspirational too.
And do you think that the inspiration is worth the potential uh, harm to your self esteem or your ego in the end?
You're leading me to an answer.
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering.
No, but that's a good question. Societally, I think it's probably been actually I don't even know societally, but I guess individually first. Um, has it yeah, so inspiration versus lack of self-esteem. I don't really know if I felt that much like self-esteem negative hits because I think I'm also not that serious. I'm not like that much of a serious character. I'm not fat, I'm not jagged. I'm just like I think I'm just pretty normal maybe a little bit above average. I'll give myself that. So I really don't care too much when I see someone like brutally frame mugging me.
Mhm.
But but I do always get like I mean I don't even get inspired that much honestly. Like I still like I mean, do you go to the gym?
I do.
Nice, bro. I don't really go to the gym that often. So I don't think I've gotten that much inspiration either. I just get so little inspiration and so little negative self-esteem.
Interesting. So you do you think that's a problem? Do you want more inspiration? Do you want more motivation to do more?
Motivation. I know I think the topic that a lot of people discuss is like motivation versus discipline.
Mm.
Like motivation is, like, oh, like you just got dumped. Now you have this like 3 month arc in the gym or something, and that's great. But like what happens after 3 months over? You've lost motivation. Then you need discipline. And discipline's good because even if you never had like a event to like really kickstart your life, then you still will kickstart your life because you're very disciplined. So like I want to be more disciplined,
Hmm.
but I guess I might have to but I have to get motivated to be disciplined, which is I don't know. It's like it's circular reasoning,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, I don't know. There's like these weird things too, where like sometimes like have you ever wished you had like negative events happen to you to like really motivate you to do something great, or is this kind of just like crazy thinking?
Have I wanted negative events to happen to me to get more motivation?
To do good things and to like yeah.
Hmm. I mean, like I've wanted motivation. Did I necessarily want bad things to be the cause of that? I don't know about all that.
Okay, yeah.
Why do you wish that you had more motivation? You see negative events being the catalyst to that.
I think I naively sometimes I just like have these I never really like of course like I'm like I never want like tragic things to happen in my life, but sometimes I do have a feeling of like, and of course I know it's like I like immediately shut it down, but like it creeps up again this feeling of like, oh, like these successful, and this is comparison again, but I see these successful people have such like tragic backstories, and it's like, man, if I had that, I totally would have become the successful too. But it is definitely a foolish way of thinking, but the feeling does arise like within me sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a very easy pitfall to fall into, especially because for all the success stories that we see from all the people that drop out of Harvard and it goes great, or
Mm-hmm.
they have some terrible thing happen to them and they fight back and it goes great. We
Mm-hmm.
don't see the other 9 stories that they end up failing, that their life
Right.
becomes terrible because they weren't able to be in the situation or be in the mindset even to capitalize upon whatever misfortune that they're facing. And it's so easy to think that it could be so easy if things were just harder, like hard
Yeah.
times make strong men or whatever
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
phrase is. And like I think it's so the motivation that you get from negative events is so minimal. It's like it's very powerful, but the time that it has, the effect that it has on you is going to be so short. Like you mentioned, like you go through a breakup, you're motivated for 3 months, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've also been struggling with myself is like, how do we reorient our ways of motivation away from the negative things and towards the positive? Like I wonder, like negativity and sadness, they're such powerful emotions, and it will make you and could make you do amazing things. But is there a way to make your baseline being filled with positive motivation and and have a positive feedback loop towards more positive things on your life? Because in the end, like after you have all the negative things happen to you and you fight back and you make your life awesome and the negative things go away, like like you mentioned, like how are you going to sustain that level of motivation? How are you going to sustain like your drive to do anything in the end? So and maybe your religion is the answer if that is the one positive motivation that we can continuously rely on. But yeah, tell me like what positive motivation, what things are giving you motivation that are positive in your life?
Positive in my life. Yeah, I think I don't even know how to define positive or negative, honestly, because like, oh, I want to get this job, so that's like positive. But is it like really positive? It's kind of because it might be negative in the sources. Like it's because of like FOMO and seeing other friends get good jobs, and then I have like envy and like and just I just wish I had those jobs. And, it's like comparison all over again. But objectively, having like getting this good job is it's only like a good thing for each person. Like it is like it's awesome to see like someone get a good job and do good for themselves. So I think no matter what, like every from whatever angle you look at something, motivation will always be like good and bad.
Mm.
Um, I like how you phrase it though, like fill ourselves with like positive motivation. Um, yeah, I how do we do that? I mean, and this maybe just you're more touching on even how we can just be happy or
Yeah,
like how can we just like yeah just be happier. I mean, are you happy?
I think I am. Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
yeah. Um, but I don't even know if that's because of any like tangible changes upon my life, or just like a change of my way of thinking that has made me happier. Which like yeah, I really don't. So it's hard to like even say the things like, oh, this makes like in general I can say specific things that make me happy, but I can't think about my way that like my life has been happier because of specific small things that I've done. Um, which is interesting to me because I try to think about happiness in three main ways.
Hmm.
You have like your momentary happiness, like ecstasy, like you have an amazing coffee someday and it's like tastes so good, like that is happiness. And there's also like your life happiness, like at the end of your life you look back and you're super fulfilled, you're super grateful for everything that you've done,
Yeah.
and you like you see your relationships with your friends and your family, and you're just happy for your life. But I think there's also like a third kind of happiness that people aren't really emphasizing in recent years, which is like the good day. Like it's there's a time frame in between the momentary ecstasy and the lifelong fulfillment of just a great day, of looking back on a day, being grateful, even if you didn't like do anything amazing. Just like you did a bunch of great work. You had a bunch of great conversations. And the day was awesome. The day gave you happiness, even when any one moment was just okay. And I think humans in general need to emphasize that kind of just good day happiness or good week happiness that I think is minimized as well by the technology, focusing on the grand and the boisterous of fancy cars or big muscles, uh, and or like amazing raving experience perhaps in any one moment. Yeah, yeah. So like, and I also think like religion's a great way to do that. Like meditating and praying to any god, I think gives you a chance to reflect upon your day and give thanks to something else besides yourself. So like, I'm actually interested. Like last time we spoke about religion,
Mm.
you're like deciding to come back. Do you think that has made you happier?
Oh, that's a great question. I I think I want to define. I like your explanations for the three levels of happiness. I think I would just remember them in my head. I would simplify them to one word. Level one would just be pleasure.
Mm,
The second one would be fulfillment. And
mm,
third one would be contentment. And those are all just like part of the general utility, positive feelings. It's a great framework too, by the way. I yeah, we were definitely in agreement that religion increases people's happiness because of mindfulness, gratitude, and just I think yeah, just community, right? Like and having like God be your rock and your anchor. Like no matter what happens, you always will have God, and if you truly believe in Jesus, He's always there for you and with you as well. But I've also struggled a lot with like is it true? Because it is true that like it makes that I think I'd be happier. Well, I don't even really know. I'm just guesstimating.
mm.
I think I will be happier in Christianity. And but then does truth even matter? And seriously, uh, what is the value of truth if not for your own happiness?
What is the value of truth if not for your own happiness?
Yeah.
Hmm. Can you expand that a little bit?
I'll give you a okay. This is a hypothetical I used to ask. I have two hypotheticals, and they're both kind of touching upon the same thing. Hypothetical one is like there's like two airplanes like about to run into each other. It's like gonna happen in like a minute or something, and you can either like let everyone know that they're about to die in like a minute, and then like maybe there's a bunch of panic or whatever, and like fear and like anguish and just like crazy. It's like the Bible would describe it as like the pool of fire and the gnashing and weeping lands of teeth, right? That might happen. Um, but then so then it's like, oh, this is kind of going back to the basilisk, but it's like this information probably like wouldn't be good. Like I don't want to know when and how I'm gonna die. That would be horrible to know that, right? This so this is like yeah, so like shoot, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, yeah, but like to and so that's like, do you want to know the truth or do you not want to know the truth? And another scenario is like, let's say you're like 80 years old, and you know your like significant other is 80 years old. You realize there has been like a moment of infidelity, like maybe like 50 years ago, and so and you can choose option A, which is like find this and then die in maybe like 6 months in like loneliness and despair and suffering, and just that, or maybe you like maybe you just never know it and you just die peacefully and happy with like your huge extended family. I think I read this on like Reddit somewhere, but it was basically like this. It was like the oldest divorce at like 80 and 81, and everyone was saying like, wow, like he should have just like they should have never like let sleeping dogs lie or let dead dogs lay or whatever. Like don't bring out that skeleton from the closet. Just like let it go. And it would have been better if he'd never known truth because he lost happiness from it.
Hmm. Okay, I see where you're going with this. And I think it's necessarily relying on having happiness be the ultimate goal, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. I think it's a goal and oftentimes like the most important one, but I don't know if that's necessarily the most important goal at all times. And I think truth it's in itself can be a goal that people have. Like I think I would want to know if like infidelity occurred or like if um like yeah, like what the meaning of life is. I think that'd be great to know. I think like yes, you're sacrificing your happiness, but you're living in a realer world. Like so I'll put the question back on you. Like if you were Neo in the Matrix,
Mm.
like would you want to just live your life as is right now or would you escape and live a worse life but just know that you're not in some AI like fragmentation of reality.
Wow, this is getting crazy. But like, okay, I'll try to separate it from the Matrix. But to look into the Matrix though, like Neo. I mean, Neo is the badass main character, but a normal person, I don't think I would, bro. I think I would live in a. It's like, have you watched Naruto,
Yeah.
bro? Infinite Tsukuyomi was, I think was good, bro.
I'm actually not that familiar with that level. What could
Okay,
you
okay,
describe more?
yeah. Naruto anime weebs, get ready. Okay, so Infinite Tsukuyomi, basically the main protagonist villain, he wanted to trap everyone in like a cocoon, and in this cocoon, you would live your dream perfect life.
Hmm.
He like, do you care if I spoil? Or
No, go for it.
all right, fuck. It. I mean, like he wins for a time, for a little bit. Everyone is just stuck living their dream life, but they have no clue it's not real. But it's like, but you're living. Just imagine you're living your dream life, and you just think it's real. I think, the main point is like, well, that's not bad. That's like good. This person's living their main life, and okay, it's not real, but like, but then how do we know this reality is real either? Like, you just get to experience dream in one reality and not in another reality. Like, which one is base reality? Is base reality even important? I mean, from like the God view, it is, but from the individual view, it is really hard to make an argument that base reality is important. Um, like, yeah, I think so if someone like lost their family in real life, but if they could just transport their consciousness to a different dimension where they have a really loving family, like I just don't think you can fault them for like doing that. And because the value of truth, I think, I don't know, I feel like it's outweighed by the value of happiness. I mean, like, yeah, um, yeah, bro, and yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that's interesting. And I think it can fall very easily into a negative kind of escapism. Like the world that we have now is it's it's less extreme than I think just like a terrible life versus an amazing dream life. But I think oftentimes, like the world now can suck for a lot of reasons. It's super hard to like push yourself to do amazing things, especially when you can just like become a recluse scrolling on Instagram Reels. And I see like that kind of level of social media use away from the real world as very, very similar to what you're describing now. Like you have your human body, your human mind in the real world, and you can like go play video games for 8 hours or like go somehow waste an entire day online on doom scrolling social media or TikTok or whatever. And what that does is like, yes, in any individual moment, you may be happier not living in the real world. It avoids the real world. It actively limits your ability to make the most of what you have now through all the good and all the bad. And well, yes, like it may suck sometimes. Like you're gonna learn to make the most of it. And I think that all happiness truly in the end is going to be relative. So like, well, for example, peasants in Europe must have had terrible lives. Like their good days must have been as happy to them as our good days are happy to us.
Wow.
So when you have a world where you're trying to escape from a potentially harsher reality, all it does is train your mind to handle hardship less and takes away your any ability that you truly have of making a real impact on yourself and the world. So in the same instance, like I would want to live in the truthful world. I would want to live in a world that sucks as long as I know it's real over one that is fake and I'm just happy all the time.
And yeah, I mean, this is all predicated on that you don't know it's real.
That's true.
But
That's true.
and then it's really hard to say, of course. But I mean, if you do know it's fake, then that's just a very evil drug that you're in. Um, yeah, but no, I really love how you just said happiness is relative. Like I'm pretty happy, so maybe I'm as happy as like the top peasant in Europe. Like we were probably experiencing like similar levels of happiness because I'm like sometimes pretty like pessimistic and cynical, right? And that guy probably also was too. But like generally, I think we're both pretty happy people.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's also like if you think of your happiest day you've ever had,
mm,
and then as you go through today and you identify any singular moment that you're like truly super happy, like I think the feelings that you feel in that instantaneous moment of happiness are going to be more powerful than whatever you think that you felt previously, even if that is truly happier then than you are now. So in the same instance, like I think like to, the effect that the past has upon us gets discounted. Not to use a finance term, but like the
mhm.
its value decreases on us as we move on, and then we enter a new world and a new scenario that has a new boundaries of good and bad, not good and bad, but of happiness and unhappiness that we now deal with and have to rectify through our movement around the world. And it's through our new understanding of happiness and unhappiness that we can actually be, I think, more happy than we were in the past, even in a worse scenario.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know if that even made sense to myself.
It is that makes I mean I kind of followed to be honest. What about but I know but you've heard like in psychology how like when people like reach another level of like spending, like
Mm,
oh this guy's at 80K now, promotion 100K, he's so happy for like a week, but then his baseline happiness has increased so that he's just the same happy as before, and if he wants to increase he's got to make another like 20K, right?
makes sense.
How does like I don't know, just like what are your thoughts on like baseline happiness levels increasing? Because I think that always like it, or I think our baseline, like as we get more successful, like our baseline happiness will reach increase, and that what that means is there's more potential for like negativity, and it will be harder to reach the next level of happiness and highness. But we of course should still keep always striving upward, because that's just like I don't know, we just all we want a positive trajectory in life.
Yeah, that that no, that's very interesting, and I like the way that you're mentioning it about baseline happiness because I think we live in a range of probability of being happy or unhappy relative to our baseline. And that's the true feelings that we feel of happiness or unhappiness. But I think like a great thing that we have when we are naturally increasing our baseline of happiness is our ability to do other things beyond seek more happiness in the end. Like you mentioned, like once you make 80K, the next 20K feels great. But the 20K after that, you got to make even more to feel the same effect.
Yeah.
An interesting study, like that may even be the same study, like the maximum that income can have on have a real effect on your happiness caps out at like $160,000. So it's like, so what does that extra money now give you by having that? And I think it's like the effect that it has on other people, potentially on your community as a in general. And it's more about not income for your own happiness, but income for your contributions to society, and which will then give you more happiness in the end by seeing the people around you being happy and being good, and being healthy. So it's like, but I think a very easy pitfall is to strive for more income, potentially to increase happiness to others, and just like fall into the trap of more and more and more and more income.
Yeah.
So like, I know you mentioned that you want to do CS. Like, I think like ideally something like NVIDIA's paying their people like $500,000. It's like a crazy amount of,
Yeah.
it's a crazy amount of money, especially for entry level roles. And it's like, it's hard to trust yourself in the future, not to just like use that for yourself in the future, and not just like want to get more and more and more and more. Especially like, no disrespect to investment bankers, but like
Yeah.
the whole idea of investment banking and changing into private equity is for the pursuit of money, and I think a lot of people are open about that as well.
Right.
So it's like, also in the future, how are we supposed to build ourselves and our society towards not just like the pursuit of monetary success? Yeah, I don't really know. And maybe communism is the future in
Wow.
the end. I don't know how we got kind of propaganda here, but
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, after reading Capital, you realize all of the faults of like wealth inequality and like and stuff like that and problems it leads to. Yeah. Um. Wow. Yeah. That was No, you have a very pragmatic view on all of these things. Because I think the happiness framework is pretty circular. Because like, like you know, you make money for happiness, and but it's like it's for your own happiness. It's because like almost anything can be called as like for pursuit of maximum happiness, and that's like the leading meanings of like some words like selflessness, right? But yeah, shoot. Oh, effective altruism, is that the solution as well?
gosh, is that even real? I don't even know.
I mean, there's a club here on campus actually,
Oh, is it really?
like Effective Altruism Club, EA Club.
Wow.
I've never gone because I mean, I don't know. I mean, low key, maybe I should go. Maybe we should go, bro.
Dude, we should go.
We
That could
should
be
go.
fun.
That could be fun. Yeah.
I can just start a Tim Talks podcast.
There.
I mean, sorry, a
Or
Tim Talks club.
oh, club. One day, bro. One day. I already have my hands are pretty full with the STEM prep, of course, as you may know. But
That makes sense.
but bro, that's how it be. All right. Cool. Well, what is your dream as we wrap up?
What is my dream? I have no idea what my dream is. I mean, I've like, it'd be great to get a job, of course,
Yeah.
but I don't even know what that job would look like in the next 5 years. I don't even know
Yeah.
like what I want to do, like really deep down. So I don't know. I don't know if I have a dream, and I don't know if that is a bad thing either.
Yeah.
To no longer have a kind of vision for myself in the future.
I think I personally think it's a bad thing.
How
To be
come?
honest.
How come?
Um, I think like I'm also very of the opinion that you have to like grab life by the balls. You have to like you have to take so much initiative to make things happen. You don't have the privilege of waiting for things to fall into your lap. If you do have the privilege of that, it's awesome. But you still shouldn't just sit around and like kind of do nothing. And you're definitely not sitting around. I know you're like super busy doing awesome stuff, but But I think it's fine to change it like a lot. But I always think you should have one because the importance it's important to think super long term and like 10 years down the line, even your whole life down the line, just to like know you have a track. And then you can also know if you're getting like bumped off the track. Like maybe this is a really bad slump because of a lot of factors in your life. You have like the baseline to adjust to like to correct your course. And of course, the end goal can change and it will change so much. But the lack of the end goal just is I don't know. I think I'm too type A to just go with the flow all the time.
I think that's fair. And I think in general, people do have like some kind of end goal. Like people on their deathbed are going to look back and
Man,
they're not going to think of like how many trophies they got or how much money they made. They're going to think of their family. They're going to ask for them. They're going to ask for their friends, and that's who they're really going to be grateful for in the end. So yeah, it's hard for me to visualize like one specific end goal outside of that and outside of like living in the first place. So like I think nowadays I can see like one career being better than another for work life balance or for salary or whatever. And I'm going to strive for those things, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a dream besides that. But have you planned your life out until the very end at this point?
I might have. I assume I shall enlighten you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I yeah, I talked to Chris about it too, but I can give maybe a shorter. I'll give the long version. Screw it.
Do it.
Once again, I ever since a young age I've always wanted to become like an entrepreneur or like maybe do something with space. So like yeah, but I don't know. I took an intro to astro class here and I realized it wasn't like the cool galaxies and black holes that you would see in Carl Sagan documentaries. It's really just a bunch of numerical statistical data analysis because the microscope moved 1 millimeter to the left, so you had to analyze this light like through this like phototron electroscope and like see it bounce another way. And it's not that fun or interesting at all, frankly. But entrepreneurship has still always been the goal, of course. I know you're kind of into that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plan is as of right now, work a few years at a big tech company or like maybe quant firm, and then meet someone, drop out, hopefully go to like a YC accelerator type of thing, and just really make a business for myself. I mean, I always want to be happy and healthy, like mental or healthy mentally and physically, but I also want to like find the best community ever. So like maybe like I feel like my 20s should just be like I find a true brotherhood. Me and this brotherhood, we'll travel around the world together. We'll all be working on our businesses in like a coffee shop in Thailand. And on the weekend or at night, we'll like get super furta, super sendy. We'll like try like everything. We'll be promiscuous. But of course, I don't know if I feel that way anymore, right? But but I hope to like, at 30 years old then to meet like perfect wife, then have like the perfect 4 kids, like probably like a son, twin daughters, another son, like in Friends. And then like spend my 30s and 40s raising these kids, and then maybe then the 50s and 60s my entrepreneurship business will have succeeded to such like a enormous length. I'll be so rich, like billion. Okay, maybe I don't know, who knows,
Sure,
right?
fuck it.
Fuck it, just for in this hypothetical I'll assume so. But with all this money, like Carnegie said, like it is like the duty of the rich to give to the poor. So like half of like this money will be for like uh it'll be for like social prestige lifestyle, like level, and then the other half of it will just be like giving back to the world. But then there's a problem because Jesus said like I mean you can't like live in like sin and then suddenly change. That's like premeditating your sin, which is bad. But the other problem is Jesus said it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. So there's problems in whether like even having this much money is even biblical. And then maybe my 70s 80s can be like super deep into Christianity, and then hopefully do you remember how have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
You remember
Yes.
how Murph died? She died surrounded. She was on her deathbed with so many grandchildren, great grandchildren, her children, her husband, maybe her husband. I don't know, but all she was died. She died surrounded by family in her like in the place that she built. Basically, it's like a perfect death. Like and one of my ex girlfriend's mom actually, she well like went on a lot of trips with like for the Teresa Foundation, like the Mother Teresa stuff, and they talked about how like when you die, you like you don't try to save these people when they're like like about to die because hope is lost. No, you just hold their hand and you be with them because dying alone is scary. So to have another human with you as you pass on to the next life or the afterlife, to nothingness for you nihilists or absurdists, or to heaven or hell for Christians, like who knows? But it's so scary, right? And you don't know, so you want someone to pass over with you, and yeah, yeah, that's pretty
Wow. I'm,
much it.
I'm impressed you have that whole thing planned out. It I feel like you're following a blueprint that I see sometimes of like the
Oh
entrepreneurial spirit, and like
yeah.
they just like achieve success. And that'd be awesome if you made that, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for you. Hope I'll watch from the sidelines.
Hey, you'll be there with me, bro. You too. I It can't be enough. It can't be enough for it's never enough for you to succeed, because
Mm,
what's the point of you succeed and none of your boys do? You know, all of the
exactly.
everyone has to make it, bro. Everyone has to make it.
Yeah, I'll meet you after you get Sendy in Thailand.
Spur it up, bro. Do you yeah? You ever I know we're only 19, but I'm in this film class, and the film like talked the big motif of the most recent film we watched. It's called "It's Such a Beautiful Day."
Mm,
Have you ever heard of it?
I'm not.
It was actually almost life changing, but there's such a huge motif of death and
Mm.
it's and like the value of life, and I don't know. Yeah, I know we're only young and 19, but I feel like we think about this stuff a lot. But like, are you scared of death? Do you think about dying? Do you think just I mean religion, right? I feel like you'd like think about it a lot, right? Or
Yeah. Um, I do think about it a lot, but not in terms of like a single point in time that like knowing like I'm going to die one day, but merely like having myself and the way that it's kind of Heideggerian, but like my being as is isn't just um, always in relation to death in some way. Like a lot of the motivation that we have is going to be for some kind of end goal for ourselves or for other people that will naturally end when we die. So I think it's like a good motivator, kind of bringing it back to that. If you're not just always afraid of it in the end. Why it seems like you've been thinking about death a lot.
yeah, I mean yeah, of course not in like a suicidal way. If everyone please get help if you do need that. Because it's unfortunately been such a like huge. I mean, it's happened in Chicago actually for context. It's been a lot this year actually, which is so sad and unfortunate. Um, I was talking with one of my other friends of how like this is like so sad that it happens in your life and goes so wrong, because it's happened a lot, or it's happened sometimes back home as well, and it's like we think we have so much time, but in reality like people like have been dropping like not like kind of like flies like our whole life. I don't know about your background, but for me kind of like a lot of people just do die like early on, and so sometimes I just I get caught in the existential crisis mode, like shoot, and of course after having gone through many experiences,
Mm.
you like you start to get like I don't know, sometimes you get like really nihilistic and stuff like that, and yeah, I mean because no matter what, like I just and it's more also about like how time flies so fast, like I still feel like I'm in middle school, or like I remember first day of high school freshman year so vividly. Even O week, right? That lunch table we had with Anton, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
okay, that
yeah.
was also a crazy time. Anyways, like wow, 2 years have gone by, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And the next 2 years will go by even quicker relative, because we've adjusted to pace. Like new things make life slow down, but we're not. Chicago's not new anymore. And plus, we've lived more years, so each incremental year is less in relative to the whole of your life.
Mm.
So time flies, and time has really flown, and like parents get old, like and like it's so sad to think about, but it's just. I mean, it's just I guess it's the beauty of life as well. Like in the White Lotus, if you've seen that show,
I'm not.
the drop returns to the ocean. Like one,
Mm.
there's a whole season about like this Buddhist monk, and well, he's not the main character, but like He's one of the major figures in this season, and like he's so wise in talking about how like death is the drop of ocean that left and got evaporated, but got eventually rains down and joins back into the ocean to fulfill the water cycle. You just return to your normal natural resting state, and yeah, but I'm scared. I'm scared of being on my deathbed and having so many regrets. I'm going to make another Tim Talks about this soon, but I think one of my like main frameworks for life was like maximum happiness. If it's hard to know which decision to choose, maximize. Just pick the one that maximizes your happiness, perceived happiness. But I think with death, you should every decision now from until you die should be minimize regret. So instead of happiness maxing, regret minning.
Regret minning. I actually think that could potentially be a good way to live.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally agree. I feel like when I've gotten older, I've noticed more things just like falling apart.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, you would like when your tissue box ran out, like it would just magically reappear.
Yeah.
It's like totally full, and it's like the dishes would be clean at the end of the day. It's like now that we've become an adult, it's like the things around us fall apart. Like God forbid the woodlawn has working showers.
Oh
and,
no.
Yeah, it's just like there's a natural state of decay that everything, not everyone, goes through, and I think that's fine. I think it's just like it is how it is, and you're at the end of your life, like you're probably going to be forgotten in a few generations. Like, do you have any memory of your great great grandparents?
Not even my grandpa.
Yeah, like you don't even know their names probably,
No.
and it's like the same thing's going to happen to you, unless you're like do something crazy. Like it's going to happen to all of us, and I think that's fine. I think it's, if anything, it allows one to live their life more openly and more how they really want to live. So it's up to you to make it make sense for yourself.
I like that way of thinking. Because honestly, like, what does it matter if we're all gonna die anyways? You might as well because we're all gonna die anyways. You have to just do what you want to do. Like the worst thing to do to yourself is just robbing yourself of what your internal heart desires. You have to do what you want to do because time is running out. Like I think the sense of urgency has kicked up a lot.
Yeah, but you also like, well, you may be forgotten. Like the effect that you had on other people will have cascading effects for forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how can you make a great impact in the world and contribute to other people's happiness and actions? And that's going to be your legacy in the end, even if no one knows it.
Yeah. Wow. It's you really have to pay it forward. Yeah. I've told this to some people, but yeah, like with your high school boys, for example, you guys were closest in high school. Like it's natural to drift, and we all knew it too. But like it was kind of like the unspoken, like, damn, well, that's just how the way life goes. And then and that's how it's gone. But like, of course, you still love them, and the impact they left on you, because you guys were closest at this point in time, but you left impacts on each other, and you went separate ways. The impact that person left on you, you give to other people, and then, like for example, if this is our closest time in college, we've made impacts on each other that we'll give to other people in the future, and then those people give those to other people because of your one point in time when you were closest, and humanity is just one giant web of people impacting each other, hopefully for positive, but a negative has been there a lot too.
Yeah,
but you're right, bro.
Yeah, but hopefully in the end, society just keeps on helping each other. That's gonna be great.
You're so optimistic.
You have to be these days. You have to be. I hope you become that way soon.
Yeah. I hope so. One day.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some rapid fire questions before we wrap up.
Okay.
All right. Best dining hall.
Best dining hall. Easily Bart.
Okay.
For their pasta salad, definitely.
Okay. Best study spot.
Best study spot. Mansueto.
Wow.
Most locked in there. Everyone is.
Okay. Debatable. Best RSO.
Best RSO. Oof. Shout out T Club They just restarted
Oh, let's go.
their operations this quarter.
That's awesome. You're definitely the type of guy. Okay, cool. Best fraternity on U Chicago.
Best fraternity, Alpha Kappa Psi business fraternity.
Rush. What is Tell them the rush.
Yep, everyone rush AK Psi fall 2026.
Okay, let's go. And color.
Best color, forest green.
I like that. Best podcast.
Tim Talks easily, of course.
My goat. All right. I'm gonna thank you guys so much for watching Tim Talks. It's been such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Anytime, Quintavious. We'll definitely reconvene sometime in the future. So,
Sounds great.
Yeah. All right. We out.